page of Google for some terms there. So, you know, he mentioned those sites and said that they were happy to share some stuff with guys there, and he said it would be neat if I was able to basically show off those sites and mention what I like about them, and so you can see what basically happens when you implement our methods and training. So hopefully that will help you guys out to see what I like about a couple sites that got ranked well, and I think are made quite good too. You know, maybe a couple things that you know, maybe still tweak, but overall a great job. And then on the second part, we'll talk about another very important thing, which is how to write better content as well as titles, specifically for not only SEO, but also sales. Because I've seen, you know, I won't say necessarily a lot of you, but I've seen quite a few that could definitely use some improvement on the content and such that you write. And the good news with that is this is a fairly easy fix. And it will not only make basically your content flow better and read much better, but it will help you rank better, it will help you maintain rankings and improve rankings and make more money off of sales at the same time. So we'll talk about all that, and unlike a lot of our calls, this one will be much more live based in terms of like I'll be showing like live demonstrations. So there'll still be some slides, but a lot of it will just be me showing off some stuff live and talking about it. So we'll still have lots of time at the very end for Q&A and stuff. So once again, welcome to Webfire's Wednesday webinars every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is a few minutes ago as of right now, where we'll host a live training and or Q&A call. If you're here or registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week so you don't forget. But if you can't make it, we'll also have the recordings up in the members area within a day of any of the calls being done under the training tab on the left side navigation bar. So either later tonight or by tomorrow morning, you'll see this call show up right there as well. So I have two quick questions for you guys, and if you could just basically answer it in the chat box, that'd be great. Question number one is, how many of you have some kind of a skill or a service that you sell for $1,000 or more? If so, type in what that skill is, and it could be coaching, a web service. It can even be stuff that we teach that you've taken action on. It can be an offline thing, anything. And then what price you sell it for. So just take maybe a minute or so to basically answer that if so, and type in what the skill or the service is and what price you usually sell it for. So I'll give you maybe 30 seconds or so. And Francis, you just asked if Sean was here. Sean is not, because he's currently in the UK until I think Friday. So he's out this week, but he should be back and on this call next week. And yes, Karen, thanks for wishing me well. Yeah, last week I wasn't feeling too hot. I was actually quite sick. I had something I think like the flu, but I did the call anyway, so hopefully you probably didn't notice that I was deathly sick while doing it, but yep. Okay. All right, so it looks like there's a good mix. Looks like there's a lot of coaching, a lot of SEO people. All right, there's a trainer. All right. Cool. All right. So question number 2 I have here is, are any of you programmers? Type it 2 if so. And I ask because we are contemplating possibly doing some other training specifically on that if there were enough. All right, so just basically type in a 2, if so. All right, that's actually more than I thought. I thought we'd be lucky if we got maybe like 2 or 3, but there's actually a good chunk. All right, cool. And I'm curious, if you typed in a 2, what language or languages do you code in? So just answer that too, if you can. I'm just curious here. All right, cool. So with that, guys, thanks for all that right there. We'll move on to today's training, which is, again, we'll look at the 2 good example sites and looking at how to write better content for SEO and sales. So I'm just going to pause the screen for a second here, and I'll start by showing off the 2 sites, then we'll move into a live demonstration of how to write better content and what to look for. And then after that, I have one slide that kind of sums up several of my key points and stuff there too. So you can definitely use that, and after the call, we'll make it available as a download as well. So with the 2 sites, so as I said, Sean was in London at a workshop we had, and there were 2 clients that approached them saying they followed and did what was suggested, and they got top rankings off of that right there. So I wanted to share those 2 and show what I like about those sites, and you know, so you guys can get some pointers and stuff too, and go from there. All right. So the first one, the first example here, is a person that sells SEO services, which again, any of you can basically do. And they have, what's really great here is that they rank on page 1 for, I think it was SEO Expert London, which is a great term because obviously London's a fairly big city in terms of, like, you know, places to rank for and stuff. So if they're able to rank there, obviously much easier to rank, you know, for smaller cities and such too. So it just goes to show that even for a larger place, you can achieve some pretty good rankings and stuff. Now, what I like about it is, you know, they had a keyword or so in mind that they wanted to basically target, which was SEO Expert London. And you see, the second you hit the site, you see that, you know, not only is it pretty obvious that they're basically, you know, an SEO service in London, but they also, you know, are like an SEO expert in London, and that they're targeting these keywords on their site without being like overly repetitive. Like there's some that will like target like 10 keywords all in the same title, which just doesn't really flow well, doesn't look all that great. This is simple, easy to follow. I like how they have like a simple call to action right here, where a person can get a free SEO report, or they can go to their blog to get some additional info. It's clean. I also like what a lot of people miss, but I really like in this case, is that they have a simple message about what they do and what they are. In this case, it's you know, right here, which is just the fastest, easiest way to rank at the top of Google to get free leads and free traffic from people searching for your products and services. That kind of sums up exactly what it is a prospect would be, you know, looking for. You know, I might almost consider making that stand out even a bit more. But you know, that's a great you know, place to have that right there. So if someone happened upon the site, they know immediately, you know, what it's all about. Because you might think, well, you know, SEO is SEO, everyone should know that. That's not always the case. There's you know, in fact, you'd be shocked at the number of smart people, you know, and I'm not talking like people that don't seem all that bright. I'm talking like smart guys that run businesses that know what they're doing, they're educated, and they know, or they've maybe heard of SEO, but they don't quite exactly know what it is. I've met a lot that think that's for paid ads and not like naturally ranking. I've met some that think that that's like a profile that you fill out, like they kind of know it has to do with Google, but they don't necessarily know that it's relevant to ranking, as odd as that sounds. So having like a clear and precise message like this is crucial. It gets the point across. And I also like down here, almost like essentially bullet points where, hey, they say they're they say that they're an SEO expert in London. That's great right there. That's what they're trying to basically target. But they also point out how they can do worldwide stuff too, which is also, I think, really great there too, because obviously there's nothing holding you back from trying to service basically people anywhere, even though you're trying to target like London just to have as a target, to hopefully pick up some free traffic and prospects and stuff. But at the same time, obviously you wouldn't turn down clients anywhere. And I also like this too, how you talk about being mobile and desktop friendly and all that. So it gives a little info without being overwhelming. And then as we scroll down here, again, it just gives a little info about what they can do to basically help, and it's not overwhelming. Again, it's not like a ton of info, but it's not nothing at the same time. So it says, hey, that they can build and optimize and grow a site. They can improve the rankings. They can create, videos and, basically stuff like that, which gives just a brief overview of what it is that they can basically do to help. And it's super easy to read and follow what's what there. This is a good start here. I think the opt-in form here could be improved a little bit. It's just need SEO help. It's not necessarily like a major driving force to fill out that form. Now, obviously, if they came there and they're aware that they need SEO and they're aware of that, that's probably fine. If you're trying to get some leads off it, I'd almost have a better call to action, like something that they get for free, if they sign up right then and right now. Another thing too, anytime you ask for a name on top of an email, you actually reduce your conversion rates a bit. It's not a huge amount and not like a major deal, but just something to keep in mind as well right there. And yeah, so that's a pretty good site right there. And again, the other thing I like too, which probably help them rank for SEO expert London, is that they used the keyword in the domain itself. So they're just SEO expert -london.co.uk. So just using that in the domain itself, in the title tag, and also on the site too. Those three things combined makes it fairly easy to rank. Now, I oftentimes get asked if people should use a dash or not. In this case, they did use a dash, and my preference is if a domain's available without the dash, use that first. It looks cleaner, and Google tends to have a slight preference towards those. But if there's a good keyword that's not available without a dash, with a dash is perfectly fine. It's just kind of like one of those things where it's it's ideal to have this, but it's not a huge deal if not. So in this case, even with a dash, it shows, hey, that they're able to rank quite well. So congratulations to the owner of that right here. So that's a good example of it. And I also like how they have some extra tabs. They have a number up there. They have a contact form. Just some extra stuff there, and examples and stuff. So that's I'd probably have maybe a few more examples for their work, but obviously a great start to start with there. The other example that Sean met was for a chiropractor in Bedford. And in this case, you see that they also, in fact, in this case, I think they ranked number 1 and 2, on Google for their search term, which I think was just Bedford chiropractor. And you see there's something in common with the last one that ranked. In this case, they use the keyword, I believe, not only on their title tag, but in their domain itself. In this case, it was bedford-chiropractor.co.uk right there. So again, it kind of goes to show what we've been teaching for like a long time, is that if you have the keyword in the domain as well as in the title, as well as used on the site a bit, you have a very good chance of ranking well for those terms. Now, it doesn't mean if you have an existing site that you have a domain already, you don't need it there, but definitely have it in the title and use it in the content. And what I like about this site right here, especially for a local site, it's crystal clear what this site is about. It's also what I like is it doesn't just say, hey, I'm a chiropractor. It says, hey, we can help you with, and then he mentions a bunch of different things. Like I'm not sure what that first one is, but he has like back pain, neck pain, hip pain, and all that stuff right there. So if someone says, or if someone thinks, man, I have some hip pain, but I don't really know. I'm looking into if the chiropractor possibly can help. The fact that you specifically mentioned hip pain psychologically makes them think, oh, he can help me now. Even if any chiropractor can help with hip pain, because you specifically mentioned the problem that the person had, you kind of connect with them. So anytime that you're able to basically specify certain problems, like for instance, if you sell a weight loss guide, a lot of people aren't specifically looking to lose weight. Some might be looking to lose belly fat. Some might be looking to lose a double chin. Some might be looking to lose arm flab, or whatever it might be. Now again, all of those are related to losing weight. Like if you drop a bunch of pounds, your belly will probably shrink. You'll probably have less of a double chin, and you'll probably eventually have less arm flab and fat basically anywhere. But people are specifically looking for specific problems, and anytime you're able to mention that, it kind of goes like, oh, I have this, I have that. That's great that this guy or this service or this product can basically fix that right there. I also like the use of videos and stuff right here. How he focuses on him. When you see the video, you clearly know he's either a chiropractor or like a villain from like the Mortal Kombat game where they rip out the spines and all that. But I'm going to guess the chiropractor is what most guys would think of when they see that right there. And I also like there's a simple call to action right here where he says, hey, call here, or leave a message, or fill out this form. And I like how he also says that they'll get back to you within 4 hours. Because when you set expectations, I think that's a really good thing right there, because the last thing the guy wants to do is to fill out a form and not know when he'll hear back. And the sooner that you can get back to them, the more likely they are to be a client or to close essentially a deal. And when you can specify, if you're like really fast on that, it gives extra reassurance that they're basically being heard and extra incentive to basically contact you or reach out to them, regardless of what you have. Like anytime that you're trying to get guys to contact you, if you really respond fast to them, make it a point to basically say that right there. And then he has some basic info about him right there, like the work times, the numbers, ways to request an appointment, saying he's registered, and all that right there. I would maybe have a slightly better call to action here, to get leads and stuff, but that's not bad per se. It's just very generic. Usually, the more specific you are and what your offer is, the more likely you are to get guys to take action. But because it's like it's further down a lawn, it's less of an issue because most guys are probably just looking for basically a chiropractor rather than sign up for a newsletter. I also like that he has a bunch of photos of him in action, and it's a variety of different ones there. Like, you have a little bit of the massage there, a little bit of, not just basically working on the back, but again, working on muscles and joints and all that. So people that might think that, gee, I'm not quite sure if this is for me, there's a chance that they'll see their problem basically being worked on, right here. Looks like he also has some products and stuff that are sold there, so that's kind of cool that he shows off that. And one thing that I would do too, which I'm not sure if he does or does not, anytime that you're able to sell other products or services, you can do like light upsells. Like, you don't want to necessarily be like hardcore, in the face of a client that just like walked in and hired you to work on their back. But if let's say a person was playing some sport, soccer, let's say, and they threw out their back, and they come in, and they get worked on, and let's say work your magic, and you fix them all up, and they're mostly fine or all fine. If there's some like medicine or some solution that you have outside of that that can help them the next time, instead of hoping that they randomly see the product that you sell, you could say, hey, by the way, if ever this happens again, there's this or there's that, which can help you on the spot a bit to kind of hold you over until you come in. Or if ever you feel like, or even if you sell like preventative stuff, like, if ever you start to feel like this or that, you can take this pill here or use this device here or whatever it might be to help with that. But a lot of people, I think, don't do the best of jobs in doing like upsells. And again, it doesn't have to be, like a hardcore, in your face. Like, a perfect example is, if you're at the dentist, and let's say your dentist sees that you don't brush your teeth all that great, instead of just saying, hey, you should brush better, or, anything like that, one thing that they could say is, hey, do you use a normal toothbrush, or do you use an electric one? And if they find out, hey, this guy says he uses a normal one, you could maybe recommend an electric one. And if you sell them there, that's one less hassle for that person to go out to a store and buy at a store versus at the dental office itself. Or if like you do teeth whitening at like a dentist, instead of just saying, hey, this is great, you're basically done, see you in like, I don't know, 6 months or a year or however long people go and basically doing that, you could also say, hey, we also have a kit, so in between appointments you can use this right here, and yada yada. Just like, that's just a light upsell. Or like I recently had some work done, on my air conditioner, and of course, not only would I get the problem fixed, but the guy also like kind of inspects, the furnace and stuff itself, and inspects a bunch of other stuff, and at the same time says, hey, I noticed that this seems kind of like it's an older unit, and eventually you might want to fix this too, and blah blah. So he's not doing like a hardcore like, hey, you need to fix this now, but he's like kind of letting it known that, hey, you might want to also consider looking into this right here, and I can do this at the same time and save a little bit too then. So it's much more compelling, and it might turn, a sale of several $100s into a sale of thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just by doing some kind of a light upsell pitch. And that works in anything, regardless if it's offline or online. I mean, there's plenty of examples of, online, services or offers and products where someone buys something from you, and you see that, hey, they might actually benefit by something else too on top of that. And as long as you do it in like a light way, it can get them to really basically respect you, feel like you're helping them, and at the same time make you a lot of extra sales. And if that's done well, you literally can make many, many, many times back the initial value or purchase price, of the client or the product or whatever that might be. I also really like I like this, how they have like a bunch of pictures and stuff. I also really like this here. So the reason why I like this is, it again sums up all the issues a person might have. For instance, I know, so I play a lot of tennis, and I know, luckily I don't have any major problems myself, but I know a lot of guys, especially the older guys, complain about wrist issues or elbow issues or shoulder issues and all that right there. And they might not know initially if this clinic could help them, because it's a chiropractor. They might think, hey, chiropractors only maybe do back stuff, but they may have heard like, hey, maybe I heard a little bit how they might help. Maybe they go and they're looking at a bunch of other sites, and this might be the only site that specifically mentions wrist or elbow or shoulder. And even if all the chiropractors or all the clinics like him out there do the same stuff, I'm not sure, but let's say that they do, because he specifically mentions it, he might be far more likely to get the business as such right there. So I like that he basically mentions all the possible problems out there that his place could possibly fix. So I really like that right there. In fact, I might even like feature that up, possibly even a bit more. And I also might add like a little headline right here to make it stand out more that says something along the lines are, hey, here are all the problems that we can help you fix. So just like make it known, like it's kind of assumed that if you list it, you can probably fix it. Otherwise, there's no point to, mention a certain issue. But I would definitely have, basically like a subtitle, like a subtitle or like a title or headline of something that basically says, here are all the problems, or here are a sample of several of the problems that we can help you solve. So I think that would definitely help right there. And yeah, so that's a good summary right there. I also like how they show their social media right there, and it just makes them look far more modern and more open and recent. So like, if they look newer and more up with the times, they stand out more. It's not necessarily like a major factor whether you have social accounts or not, but it makes you look more accessible and more real and stuff too. So that's a good thing right there. And I also like, again, at the very end, how again he has the number and in the contact form. Even though he mentioned it a couple times up here, it's nice that at the very bottom it's there again, because at the end of the day he wants him to do what? To either call him or message him. He wants to get that lead, he wants to get that sale. So if you can mention it more than once, make it real obvious. So if a person scrolls down, they basically see that. If they scroll up right towards the top, they see a quick way to contacts and stuff right there. Again, great job, and great job achieving number 1 and 2 for the same keyword knowledge. So I just want to show off, on top of all the sites that we basically talked about the last 2 weeks, I want to show off these, because I thought these did a fairly good job right off the bat. And of course, there's always little things that could be fixed or changed, in any business, but I thought these were 2 pretty good examples of sites that followed, the basic SEO and marketing rules and such right there. So congrats again. And with that, I just want to take now like a moment to transition over to the second part of this talk, which is how to write better content, especially when it comes to SEO and sales and such. And this is a problem I see, like a lot of times people tend to, I think, either they'll write like a crappy article like really fast and they don't think, or they'll have like a title that isn't all that great. And I want to show a couple examples here. So first, anytime you write a blog post or like an article, and here's just a sample one. Like here is a random blog post I found, which basically talks about how to write a blog post. So I thought it's kind of cool. There's a few things that they do great here. There's a couple things that they miss, even though they kind of explain it later how to do what they didn't do. But one of the things is, you want to have an attractive title. So right here, if someone's trying to search on how to write a blog post, which is the main keyword that they're trying to rank for, which they actually do rank for, that's half of the battle. So you want to have the keyword somewhere in your titles. In this case, the keyword was how to write a blog post. But then after that, you also want to have it be a compelling title. You want to have people click through on Google and continue to read, your blog post or your article or whatever it might be. And what this gal did here is she says right here, hey, a simple formula plus 5 free blog post templates. Now that's a very tempting, attractive title because it's what? It doesn't just say, hey, how to write a blog post. It says, hey, she gives you a simple formula to basically follow. So, hey, that sounds pretty good. It sounds a lot better than, a hard formula or just a basic boring article. So it sounds kind of more like step by step, much more appealing. And then when she adds in, the 5 free blog post templates, that kind of puts you over the edge. Like, man, that sounds really good. I can copy these 5 things right here. So that's a great title example that I want to show off. And then what you should do after that, which I think she basically does like an okay job of here, is you want to have like basically an overview at the start, like a brief overview. You don't want to ramble on too long. You just want to have maybe like a few lines, like a paragraph or so that sums up what your what your article or blog post about, what you'll be teaching them, so on and so forth. I also like in this case, obviously they're trying to grab leads off of this, so they have a couple cases throughout here. They have a link, so that's obviously how they basically monetize this or grab leads off it. I also really like the use of bullet points. So anytime you basically can use a bullet point, especially for reviews and such, I think it's very good to have those, and it makes it much easier to read. The other thing too is anytime that you can use like a subtitle, I think is great. So like right here, for every step, have it as a subtitle, have it be in bold or larger text, make it easy to stand out. And so like right here, if you scroll through, you can see every different subtitle that there is, so you can quickly and easily kind of read or glance over the entire article without having to read all the specifics. So a lot of people don't like to read everything. They'll just glance at the subtitles, and if you can get a basic overview by just reading the subtitles, a lot more people walk away happy and feel like they're getting value out of your post, and it can oftentimes kind of catch them and grab them and pull them in to actually read more and follow through on your advice and stuff. I also like to, another example here is like right here. So they didn't do the best job, in the article itself in this way, but I think the example here is spot on, where anytime you use like a subtitle or subheading or anything like that, make it easy to read and stand out. Like, you don't want to have a novel on every single point that you have. Like, for instance, right here, if you have an article on blocking distractions, yes, have like a quick overview. Then for every subpoint that you have or every topic that you want to talk about within that, like right here, they talk about white noise generators, and just like, again, a brief paragraph about those. Next topic, website blockers, and just a brief line or two about that right there. So if someone wants to glance over and skip over the parts that they don't want or that they're not interested in, they easily can do that. And if you allow a person to kind of scan through and do that, you can get a lot better results and get much more interactions, because anytime you force a guy to read, there's lots of people that think, well, I don't want the guy to skip half my article. The problem is people aren't going to take the time to read a dozen pages if they're not interested in it. You'll lose them as a whole there. So that's what I really like about this. And then again, you'll see at the very end they have another call to action where again you can download the 5 templates that they mention right there too. So I like the fact that their call to action, or their main goal here, is to get you to download these 5 templates, probably because they grabbed leads off of that. I like how they mention that both at the end as well as towards the start and probably throughout it as well. So that was a pretty good job right there. I also like how they use some graphics and stuff and some bullet points. Another thing that I want to show off is this is especially important for like review writing or anything like that. So anytime you write a review, you want to ideally have a brief overview, a pros and cons list. If you can do it ideally in bullet points, that's always great. Have some headlines or titles that say pros or cons, and then a summary at the very end, just a few lines, and a call to action on what you want them to basically do. That can work well. But moving on to another very important part is kind of like what I said back here, with making the title SEO friendly but also attractive to click through. I want to show an example here. So if I'm looking to buy a MacBook Pro, okay, I actually have a couple now, so I'm not in the market, but let's say I was, I might do a search for something like MacBook Pro review, which you could be an affiliate for like any kind of product you want. You can write reviews on anything and really try to get traffic to click on your blog post or your review or your video and ultimately hopefully buy through your link there. I've had reviews in the past that have made a ton of money just by sitting there. In fact, one that I didn't drive any traffic to myself, it just got ranked. After all this time, like it's been years and years and years, it's made me over 20 grand just sitting there online. Now, not 20 grand overnight, not 20 grand the next month or even the next year, but over time it adds up. And again, want to show off, like let's say you type in MacBook Pro review. What you see here is you see a bunch of them ranked on page 1, and you can see the titles. And a lot of these kind of suck, okay? Like they're kind of boring. Like if we scroll down to ones at the bottom, this is just plain. It says new MacBook Pro 2016 review, MacBook Pro review, the heir apparent, MacBook Pro 2016 review 3 months later. That's kind of a bit more appealing than these two right here, because you're like, so they re-reviewed it 3 months later. What have they found out? What don't they know, or what don't I know? And again, right here, this is just a plain one. Although I like the use of essentially the stars there, so they probably used essentially a schema. Up here, I kind of like that they say, hey, the best computer you shouldn't buy, so that kind of sparks the curiosity, but you're still not quite sure if, oh, maybe they're just basically bashing a product. And then what you notice is that the more up you get, typically the better the titles seem, right? And if you're curious as to why, it's because Google actually tends to track what people click on. So the more people click on a link, especially relevant to the amount of traffic or clicks they should get based on the ranking, they'll move you up or down. So if you're ranked number 1 and not a lot of people seem to click through, they'll push you down. Whereas if you're ranked number 9 on page 1, but you get more clicks than what a typical number 9 spot should, they tend to move you up. So it's important to kind of spark the curiosity to get those clicks through. So like right here, we say, hey, this is comparing the 2017 to the 2016 and saying what's changed, which would probably, if you're in the market for one, you might want to know what the difference actually is. This is also good right here, that this is a great example. Which MacBook should you buy? MacBook versus Air versus Pro. That's a great one where what I like about that is anytime you can help a person with their decision, realize that people typically are comparing products to one another. Like should they get an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy? Should they get HostGator or Bluehost for their hosting? Should they get GetResponse or Aweber? Anytime that you can write basically a review that compares a bunch of different things, it does two things. One, it's oftentimes easier to rank for like versus type terms like get response versus Aweber, or HostGator versus Bluehost, or anything like that. So it's easier to rank for those terms. And on top of that, you'll find that it's a more likely to be a buyer. So someone looking for the difference between a MacBook and, let's say, a Mac Air is what? They're probably looking to buy, right? They're probably saying, I'm not quite sure which one I really want. I'm convinced that I want one of these. I'm just not quite sure which one. Whereas if someone's just looking for a MacBook Pro, they might just be doing research on it. You don't know if they're looking necessarily to buy that versus another one. They might be considering a few more, but if you say this versus that, they probably have their decision locked down to one of those two. Now, there's typically less traffic for a versus type keyword, but it's easier to rank, and it's a more exact buyer too, and it's cooler because you can help these guys out a lot more by basically telling them what they should do. But if you're just writing a normal review, and I'll actually show off both of these right here. The first one, what I like about the title is it's crystal clear on what it is. So this is a MacBook Pro 13-inch review, and they say what year it is, what model, and I like how they say 6 months later. So it sparks your curiosity. Hey, look, they wrote a review, but it looks like they maybe redid this 6 months later. What changed? So obviously you'd be probably likely to click through and read up on that. And so again, it has an attractive title. It has the keyword you're trying to rank for, in the title. I like how it has a pros and cons list. So it makes it super easy, so you don't have to read much there. And it lists out, I always love it when it can list out stuff in features or bullet points, makes it super easy to follow. And again, just gives a summary of it. It's a bit long for a review, but it's not bad for a person that's looking for an in-depth one. I like how they have pictures on the points that they're basically talking about. So that's all great right there. What this place probably fails on, this is a really long one right here. What they would probably want to do is, you see that they have basically an ad here where a person can buy that. Throughout the article, I would probably even mention in a link, an affiliate link. Here's the best price that we found on this model right here, and give a link to that, because you'll be shocked the number of people that will click through and follow the advice that you give right there. But let's look at another example right here, which was the second one down. Which MacBook should you buy? So this is a comparison one. So let's see what a review like that can look for. And even though I'm talking about reviews right now, you can apply this to any kind of writing. But I think reviews are super easy to start with. And what I would do in a case like this, they're trying to target probably a keyword like which MacBook should you buy, as well as MacBook versus Air versus Pro. If I were them, I would add a keyword like review after that, because it'll give them more chances to rank for additional terms like MacBook versus Air versus Pro review. And you scroll through, and what I like is they have basically a summary, but then they have a comparison chart. And I always think those are really neat right there, because people love them. So rather than having to read 5 pages of stuff, they can just focus on a chart. And inside of WordPress or Blogger, it's fairly easy to make easy kind of charts or bullet points and stuff like that. But I love the fact that they can quickly and easily glance, see what the different prices are, see what basically the specs are, and kind of see what they think might be the best fit for them. But I also like here how they break this down to make it super easy. So they say right here, hey, here's the most affordable one. Okay, so the most affordable one and the longest lasting one is this. So what I like about this is they break down which model is the best for each guy. So you don't have to read 5 or 10 pages of stuff and then come to your own conclusion. It clearly says, hey, if you're looking for the most affordable one, here's the one for you. And in this case, it says the MacBook Air. What I would also do is, which they kind of missed here, I would have a link at the very end again that says, hey, for the best price that we found on this, click here, which they missed, and they're probably losing a lot of revenue off that. But here it says, hey, for the most portable one, it'd be the MacBook. So we kind of give a breakdown of that. For the fastest one, or the best one in terms of speed for the money, it'd be this one right here. For the best for multitaskers, it'd be this one right here. So it just kind of gives a breakdown. And the best for the power users, or people that use it a lot and really need something that's heavy on the power and stuff, it gives you this one right here. And it kind of, again, just kind of like breaks down the entire thing for them. Now, again, what they did a bad job of in this case is after each one, they really need to have like a button that says, hey, this is the best price that we found on this site right here, and have it be an affiliate link. Now in this case, because they're like a magazine, maybe they didn't want to have affiliate links and stuff in it, but they would be basically making a lot more if they use that right there. But definitely what I see a lot of people oftentimes mess up on, especially when comparing stuff, they'll give a whole bunch of notes on the pros and cons of each one, but they never answer the question that everyone wants, and that's which one is better? Which one should I buy? So even if you don't say, hey, this one is better, period, if you can't say that, you should at least say, hey, this one's better if you're looking for a cheap model that's really good. This one's better if you're a power user that needs this, this, and that. It's kind of like, imagine that you go to a new town and you ask, and you're looking for, let's say, pizza, and there's 3 pizza places on the same road. Okay, so it's just as easy to get to all 3. And you ask a person, say, hey, have you ever been to any of these 3? Which one's the best one? And they say, yeah, I've been to all 3. This one, here's a big list of pros and cons. This one, here's another big list of pros and cons. And this one, here's a big list of pros and cons. That might give you a lot of info. You might appreciate them taking that time, but you'll be frustrated inside because really you just want to know which one's better, which one should I go to. Whereas what you'd like more is if a person basically says, hey, I personally really like this one the best. I hate this one right here. So again, you want either an answer like that or a person that says, hey, if you're looking for a thin slice pizza or a thin crust pizza, you want this one. If you're more of a thick crust guy, you want this place here instead. Because that kind of sums up to saying, hey, one of these isn't worse or basically better, but if you're looking for the thick crust, this is the better choice. If you're looking for the thin crust, this is the better choice right here. So especially, when you guys are writing, reviews and such, make sure that you not only, have your reviews be easy to read, but give them a clear call to action and a clear decision at the very end. And even if you don't write reviews, like this applies to any content out there. Like, if you're, like, let's say you write an article, okay, like let's say you sell mopeds, okay? You sell mopeds online or you're an affiliate. And you have an article on what kind of engine they should have, in their moped. I know there's like, I'm not really a car guy, but I know in mopeds there's like 150 cc engines, 250 cc, and maybe 100 or so. I'm not quite sure. But a lot of people that are brand new are like, crap, I don't know what the difference is. I don't know, if I need this or that. You can write, like, let's say a blog post on that might be, hey, what kind of motor should I get for my moped, or what kind of motor do I need, for a moped, or some term like that. And you basically answer saying, hey, here's a breakdown of the 2 or 3 different kinds of motors. and then clearly give them an answer. So say, hey, if you're a full-grown adult, you want this one right here if you want to carry any weight at all. If you just want to zip around, you know, the block and you don't weigh more than X, this is the perfect one right here, and it will save you a lot of money. So just clearly answer questions like that and give them a clear call to action after that and say, hey, you know, if you're looking to buy one like this, here's a good choice right here. Or to give an example for, let's say, SEO. Like, let's say you have an article on what to do to get ranked. And you can talk about, hey, you know, you really want to make sure that the keyword, you know, that you're trying to rank for is in the title tag and blah, blah, blah. You know, so here's where you would write that right here. But at any point in time, you then say, hey, if you're looking for, you know, the easiest way to get all this stuff done, you know, feel free to contact us here or reach out to us here, and we can do all that for you right there. So regardless of what you're basically doing, make sure you always have a clear and concise message. Even if you're just, let's say it's not a blog post or not an article, if you're just trying to write a reply online to a person, you know, you want to make sure to clearly answer them, make it easy to follow. Like let's say a person says, hey, what's the easiest way to lose weight, okay? And your goal is to get them to your site to buy your weight loss product or to buy whatever product that you're, you know, an affiliate for. You want to answer and say, hey, you know, as to answer your question, some of the easiest ways to lose weight are this, and that. I personally find that this is, you know, probably the easiest of them all, and might lose like a few pounds in X time, whereas this one's a little more tough, but can lose a lot more weight over time. You know, if you want some additional info on the stuff I just mentioned, feel free to check out, you know, my site here. That clearly answers their questions, gives them some useful tips, doesn't sound spammy or anything like that, but still gives them an incentive to check out your site if they like what they heard or if they want to see, you know, how to do more of what you just said. So hopefully that makes sense, guys, and hopefully it will help you write some better content and such there. So I'm just going to pause the screen as I go back to the slides. And again, here's just a quick summary of some of the writing tips. So first, target the keyword in your title. That's crucial. And especially have it be a keyword that's easier to rank. So again, use the keyword tool to determine which ones are easier or harder to basically rank for, or see how many competitors on page 1 use the keyword phrase, you know, in their title. If there's not a lot, like less than 2, you have a very, very good chance of ranking. If there's a lot more, you'll have a tougher chance. But just because your first choice isn't available doesn't mean that there might not be additional terms that you could easily rank for. Like for instance, if it's a review type keyword, maybe, you know, maybe get response review, which is the name of, you know, an autoresponder service. Maybe get response review by itself is competitive, but maybe you know, review of get response is not, or maybe get response versus MailChimp, or get response versus Aweber, or something like that might be easier, or get response versus Aweber review, that term itself. You know, some of those might get less traffic, but the quality of the traffic can be better. Or on a local basis, you know, let's say that SEO Service London, let's say that seems hard. Well, maybe check, maybe does SEO Expert look easier? Does, you know, SEO London by itself? I mean, just look at like a whole bunch of terms like that, or London SEO Service versus SEO Service London. So a whole bunch of different things that you can look at to try to see which ones might be easier to possibly rank for, and kind of just judge, well, you know, this one might get a bit less traffic, but it looks way easier to basically rank for. So do you want to go through the fight of trying to compete with a bunch more guys and possibly not make it, or have an almost guaranteed chance of making it and really competing against not really anyone? So that's up to you. I usually try to go for, you know, the best keyword that doesn't have a lot of competition. You also want to make the title engaging and get them curious to click at the same time, because again, the new Google changes, especially in the last, I'd say 2 years, if not more. I mean, they've had this for a while, but they've looked more at it probably in the last 2 years, is how often people click on your link and how long they stay. So if they click and immediately go back, that means that they don't find the content engaging. Or if they never click on it to start with, even if they rank it, that tells Google that it's probably not about, or it's probably not useful and probably shouldn't be ranked, on page 1 there. So the more engaging and the more curious you can, make, the title, by all means do that and make the content relevant and easy for them to quickly understand that that's what they want to read. And with that, you can also use subtitles and headings too when you can. That will make them stay longer. It will make them less likely to be like, oh man, this is 10 pages of crap I don't want to read, because people like easy stuff. And on the same note, anytime that you can use like basically bullet points or like a bulleted list or charts, those can add a lot of value. They make it super easy to read, and they can help with your rankings too. And then having a brief overview intro, a breakdown, of your main points, and then a summary with a call to action is also a great and simple model to basically follow right there. So don't overthink that too much. And using graphics or videos can help too, especially if you use basically if you use the image alt tags on your graphics, that can increase your rankings on the pages, as well as sometimes even get the images ranked. And on the videos, you can use those, and it will also, if you optimize the videos well enough, and we even have like the Video Firestorm tool, if you optimize that well enough, you can even get the videos ranked too. So it's kind of like a double whammy for you right there. And lastly, you want to make sure that your call to actions should be bluntly obvious. This is a big one that I'd say like 9 out of 10 guys probably miss. They don't have obvious call to actions, or they have it like one time and it's very hard to basically find, which you're losing a lot of sales off that if you're basically doing that. So with that, guys, we're at the end of the hour. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask now, and then we'll do the cash giveaway right after. And if you want to get a jump start on the cash giveaway, you can go to getwebfire.com/FB group. That's our free Facebook group. If you're not a member of that yet, again, it's free to join. Just click join, and Sharon will approve of you probably within like a minute or 2. And then you'll see a post from her that basically asks what you thought of today's call. If you leave a comment within that post, we'll pick a random winner from that in just a few minutes right here. So just make sure to leave a comment there. And again, we always appreciate likes and shares and all that too. But that's always great. But if you can leave a comment there, we'll pick a random winner among those in just a bit. So with that, as you guys do that, I'll answer questions and stuff that you have. So let me just pop up the questions here and see what I can find. All right. All right, just reading through a bunch of questions. A lot of these we answered. All right, so Jess asks here, which I kind of addressed in the call, but I'll just clarify it just in case. They ask, if we already have a domain, would you suggest changing it? If you already have some rankings, if you already have some stuff on it, I wouldn't. An exact match domain is just one thing that can help you. If you have an existing site, you can definitely still achieve top rankings just by having the keywords used in the title tags, as well as throughout the actual content. And with that too, if you're trying to rank for like let's say you're trying to rank one site for like a bunch of terms, you'll always have a bunch of terms that won't be in the domain itself. So don't feel like you absolutely have to have that, because every web page you have can be treated separately. And that's also why, like, if you use like our WebFire plugin for WordPress and stuff like that, you can have the URLs of any domain contain the keywords in it. So like if you have, like, let's say you have a blog called jess.com, okay? If you have a blog post on that that's, let's say it's, how to fly a plane, okay? If you have the title of the blog post as how to fly a plane, the plugin will automatically have the URL be something like jess.com /how to fly a plane. So in that case, it would be in the URL, which helps a lot, versus a lot of guys, a default blog sometimes will just have a link like / post 1115 which doesn't really say anything. So yeah, don't be too concerned about that. But if your main goal is to rank for like a certain keyword and only mostly just that, or that's your main one, an exact match domain name can really go a long way. Okay, let's see here. Okay, this person asks here, would you check how it looks on mobile to check that the code is responsive and isn't load time an issue with all the videos? So, okay, so I think what you're basically asking, I'm not quite sure, I think what you're basically asking is, having a bunch of videos, does that possibly create a loading issue? It depends on how you do it. If you upload a bunch of videos yourself to your site and they're very long and they take a lot of space, sure. But if you use like YouTube or stuff like that, that's far less of an issue, because it won't actually have to load them all up on your site there. And you can also just load like basically an image of the video so that they have to click that right there. But yeah, you don't want like a lot of big images in terms of size, not in terms of like pixel size, but in terms of like megabyte size. You don't want like huge files like that. And yeah, you should always, ideally, on any site that you have, always try to check it from a phone too, just to see what it looks like too. Like if it looks very hard to like scroll around on, it's not mobile friendly. There's a lot of templates and stuff that are mobile friendly and stuff, but the main thing is just make sure it looks nice there. And that's one thing that we actually talked about possibly building in to the website analysis tool, was a bit more stuff to help basically analyze the mobile side of things. But that's a fairly easy thing to check in the meantime. And yes, you can, if you use a schema, there are ways to get blogs to show up within the stories, like the news bits there. Okay. All right, and here's a question right here. They're thinking of approaching people with, I presume, like SEO offers, and they basically are concerned that there's a lot of different options and different prices that they could propose, but they don't know which one's best for them. I mean, try not to have a ton of options, because the worst thing you want to do, like imagine if you walk into a paint store and you say, I want a dark blue paint, and the guy whips out a book and goes, okay, here's 1,000 shades of dark blue. Most people would be like, crap. Whereas if you say, hey, here's 3 different shades of dark blue, this, and this, which one do you like more? That's far easier, of an offer, and easier to get a person to make a decision, and you're less likely to actually lose them. So again, keep that in mind, and don't overthink that. Just pick a few options and basically offer that. So don't overthink that. All right. Jess X here, she said when she types in MacBook Pro review, they get a slightly different list than me on Google. And yeah, that makes perfectly normal sense. Google tends to they tend to personalize results towards like everyone a bit. It depends on where you are. So like, you know, if you're in the UK, it might look a little different than, you know, if you're in the US or Australia or New Zealand. And also based upon your own habits, it can change a little bit too. But typically it's more based upon like location and stuff as a whole right there. So don't worry too much about that. That's also why the rank tracker that we have built into Webfire gives you the results that the normal average person would see based upon the location that you want it to track from. So that's why that's kind of important right there. And yes, I agree. When writing a review or like an article, there's a fine line between having like a bunch of junk and having it be clear and precise. So I usually like the clear and precise stuff. All right. How many videos can you use? Basically as many as you want, but don't overdo it. Okay. All right, so to answer your question, April, without seeing what the alt tags were, you know, I wouldn't know, but you know, if you write this support on that, they can take a look. So she's basically asking how to fix the alt tags on 2 images. And that's, you know, if you have like 20 images on your site, don't feel like you have to have every image. Doesn't have to have an alt tag. Just make sure that, you know, at least most of them have alt tags on them, and make sure they're relevant to what you're trying to basically rank for, as well as long as they're also relevant to the picture. Like, don't name basically a picture a certain keyword if it has nothing to do with that. All right, Brooke asks, how much to charge to help a small business improve their rank? We have a lot of prior training and such on just that, but my rule of thumb is it depends on the business and depends on the value that you can give them. You want to make it like a no-brainer for them. So imagine that you have a client that's like a lawyer or a roofer, where one sale can be worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars to them. Charging them $3 to $5K, or even like a grand or so. So like I'd say either like a grand a month or $3 to $5K upfront. You know, it doesn't seem like that bad of a deal when in their head, if they get one client off of your results, even one new client a year, they can make a profit off that. So in that case, you can charge more. Whereas if you're doing some work for like a shoe repair place that might only make a few thousand a month tops, you'd have a very tough time selling the exact same work for even a few $100s. So just keep that in mind. All right, this question is, how do they manage Shopify SEO? Well, we have a Shopify version of the Schema tool, so you can start with that. I also would recommend that any of the images you have, make sure they you know, are named after what they basically are, and make sure that the product names and stuff that you have are basically optimized towards terms are less competitive. Those would be 3 things right off the top of my head. Brooke, yes, we have tons of prior training and such on how to do this stuff as a service. If you search our training tab, you know, for anything probably like SEO or service or, you know, anything like that, you'll probably find a bunch of trainings specifically on how to sell stuff, you know, like that. Or if you reach out to our support, they can guide you on the exact links on that too. All right, this person says, for basically headline on a page, can the headline be done as an image? Technically you can, but Google can't really read images. Now, you can have an image alt tag take the place of a keyword, but they tend to favor text a bit more in terms of what the word says. All right. All right, this is a great, great question. After you do the suggested SEO updates, how long does it usually take to be reflected in Google? It depends upon the site. Some changes, you might see a change within hours. Some might be days. In some cases, it might even be weeks. It totally depends upon the site. If it's brand new, if you have any backlinks to it, if you want to jumpstart it, you can use the submit your site tool inside of Webfire that can make it go faster. If you get even a single backlink, even from like a video or a site or basically anything, that can speed it up a bit too. If it's a schema, that can take, again, anywhere from days to weeks, and there's usually not much that you can do other than just wait on that. Okay. All right. James asked here, are blogs usually specific to one topic? So if the blog is on weight loss, should you create another one for survival products? Typically, yes. You'd want to have them be like topic specific. There are always exceptions to the rule, but it'd be very weird to have a blog where there's like a bunch of weight loss tips and stuff and then also have a bunch of survival tips and stuff. I mean, you can kind of make it work, but it's better to have like at least a basic topic for each one there. All right. Julian, it depends upon the keyword that you're trying to rank for. So just because you create an article, it can be the best article in the world, but you want to make sure that the keywords that you're trying to target on it are basically optimized to rank well. So that's the number one factor in getting ranked there. All right, and guys, on the post, or I should say on the comment to win $100, please also try not to post like several times there because that doesn't make it all that fair. So try to only post once there, just make it fair for everyone. All right. All right. We're trying to build an email list. All right, so the question is, what if you're building an email list and it's just an opt-in page going to an affiliate offer? How do you use Webfire? Well, in that case, there's a few things. One, you could focus on the lead tools and find guys asking relevant questions and such related to what they're interested in and try to drive the traffic there. So in that case, you wouldn't even have to worry about being ranked to start with. Or if you want to create your own blog post and drive them to basically an opt-in page first and then to an affiliate offer, that can work too, and then you can take advantage of having something that you can easily get ranked and stuff too. All right, the question is, how different would a Webfire SEO report be compared to another SEO report? It entirely depends. We include a lot more info than most would, and we also basically analyze a lot of stuff that kind of gives like more of a true idea of if it's easier or harder to rank for, which I think is really a crucial bit right there. So ours tend to be more informative, on that stuff right there. April asked if I could do a site analysis to look at tags on her site. We'll see if there's time, but if not, just write the support and we can easily kind of go through that right there and see what the alt tags are. So You know, if you just write them, or you know, if you run the example yourself, we can take a quick look at that too. But with that, let's move to the cash giveaway, because we're a bit past the hour right here. I want to be fair to those that are waiting. So with that, I'm just going to pause the screen for a second. And again, I'll give you guys one more chance. If you want to go to getwebfire.com/FB group, if you do a comment in that post there, we'll choose a random winner in a second here, as soon as my screen flips over. All right. So, just give me 1 second here to flip the screens over, and we will pick a winner. All right. I'll try to do an example search for someone here in a second too. All right, so as I refresh this page, here it is right here. And it's just Sharon's post right here asking what you thought of it right here. And ideally try to leave the comments within this post right here. I know there's a handful that post outside. I'll count the ones outside, but it makes it a lot easier if you post within here, just because it's easy. So, okay. So what I'll do the final count. Count the ones outside first, and that goes up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 plus 45, so 50. Go to random.org. Get a number here. 27 is the number, so almost right in the middle. All right, so let's do the official count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 is, all right. So James Jimmy Burrell, if that's you or that looks like you, and you studied at the University of Phoenix, congratulations. You are $100 richer, or I should say you will be, as soon as you let Sharon know your PayPal email. So just mention that in the chat box, what your PayPal email is, and she'll get that over to you shortly, within the hour. So as soon as we get that info from you. So again, congratulations to James Jimmy Burrell for being this week's $100 winner. And with that, guys, let's see if there's any last minute questions that popped up before we wrap this up. And yes, a person asked here if you can white label the Webfire SEO reports. Yes, you can brand them towards you. You can have your own logo. That's all easily possible within that right there. All right. Bill asked which programming got into the White House. That was not me. I'm not actually a coder myself, but that was one of our top coders. Got in there. He actually does some really amazing stuff in artificial intelligence and a bunch of other very advanced things. So that's what got him in there. All right. And with that, guys, we can wrap up the call here. And again, I want to thank all of you. I know we went a little late there, but I always want to make sure that there's time to answer, all your questions and all that right there. But if you have any other questions, again, just feel free to reach out to us at support@webfire.com, or better yet, inside of the members area, if you just click on the support tab, it'll go to the help desk, and that makes sure that there's never like an email issue. So if it gets lost, you can always see a reply in there. Bill, you can certainly email us if you have a question I see on some coding stuff. You certainly can email us at support@webfire.com, and we can take a look and possibly see what that might all entail right there. We usually don't do custom coding stuff or whatnot, but we can always take a look and see if anything lines up. So with that, guys, if you have any other questions, again, just write us at support@webfire.com. And I forgot who it was, but there was a gal that had a question on image alt tags with the site analysis tool. Just because we're basically out of time, if you want to email the support on that, they'd be happy to take a look at your site and see what they find with that too. So just make sure to reach out to us right there to be fair to everyone. And with that, guys, thanks again. And I look forward to seeing you next week again at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. So same place, same time. And we'll probably have Sean back on that call as well then. So with that, guys, take care, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.